The Philippines has the fastest growing HIV epidemic.
It's even worse than before.
Spreading fastest in the Philippines than anywhere in the world.
HIV. Sa HIV.
May HIV.
Nangangailangan na ng kaukulang aksyon ang dumaraming kaso ng mga kabataang nagkaka-HIV.
In the vast tapestry of human existence, there are threads woven in strength, resilience, and courage. These threads tell the stories of individuals living with a condition that tests their spirit every day. They are people living with HIV or PLHIV. Living with HIV is not just about managing a medical condition. It's about navigating a world that often misunderstands and stigmatizes the disease. It's about facing physical, emotional, and psychosocial challenges that is seemingly detrimental to the lives of people living with HIV. The history of HIV is a complex and global story that began in the early 20th century. It involves the transmission of virus from non-human primates to humans.
The first known case of HIV in a human occurred in a man from the Bantu ethnic group who died in Congo. His blood sample, taken in 1959 for a study on malaria and glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency, later tested positive for HIV. However, it's important to note that this is the first recorded case, and the scientists cannot definitively say if this was the first occurrence of HIV. Moreover, researchers estimate that HIV-1, the most common form of the virus, spread from chimpanzees to humans no later than 1930. Most likely during bushmeat trading. Hunters would have come into contact with animal blood while hunting chimpanzees, probably in and around Cameroon. HIV-like virus that attacks the immune system of monkeys and apes. In 1999, researchers identified a strain of chimpanzee SIV called SIV-CPZ, which was nearly identical to HIV. Chimps, the scientists later discovered, hunt and eat two smaller species of monkeys, red-capped mangabes and greater spot-nosed monkeys, that carry and infect the chimps with two strains of SIV.
These two strains likely combine to form SIV-CPZ, which can spread between chimpanzees and humans.
SIV-CPZ likely jumped to humans when hunters in Africa ate infected chimps, or the chimps' infected blood got into the cuts or wounds of hunters. Researchers believe the first transmission of SIV to HIV in humans that then led to the global pandemic occurred in 1920 in Kinshasa, the capital and largest city in the Democratic Republic of Congo. HIV is transmitted through direct contact with certain body fluids from a person with HIV who has a detectable viral load. These fluids include blood, semen, preseminal fluid, rectal fluids, vaginal fluids, and breast milk. The virus can enter the bloodstream of an HIV-negative person through a mucous membrane, open cuts, or sores, or by direct injection.
The most common way of transmission is through unprotected sexual intercourse and sharing of needles. There are two main types of HIV, HIV-1 and HIV-2.
While both weaken the immune system, HIV-2 develops more slowly and has a lower transmission rate than HIV-1. HIV-2 is resistant to some medication that can treat HIV-1. Both types of HIV are long-term but manageable health conditions. HIV-1 is the most common type of HIV and accounts 95% of all infections, whereas HIV-2 is relatively uncommon and less infectious. HIV-2 is mainly concentrated in West Africa and the surrounding countries. HIV-1 is extremely contagious, whereas HIV-2 is less infectious than HIV-1. HIV-1 can be further classified into four groups: M, N, O, and P. Of this, Group M is the most widespread worldwide. Group M is divided into 9 distinct subtypes: A, B, C, D, F, G, H, J, and K45. Subtype B is the most common subtype in the United States, while subtype C is the most common worldwide. Subtype C, which belongs to Group M, accounts for almost half of all HIV-1 infections globally, with the highest concentration in Southern Africa and India.
The genetic difference between HIV-1 and HIV-2 mean that if a person takes a test for HIV-1, it may not detect HIV-2. For people at increased risk of HIV-2, a healthcare professional may also test for HIV-2 antibodies or antigen.
The treatment for HIV is called antiretroviral therapy, or ART, which involves taking a combination of HIV medicines daily. Although ART cannot cure HIV, it helps people with HIV live longer, healthier lives. It reduces the amount of HIV in the body, helping to keep the viral load low. If the viral load is undetectable, the person will not transmit HIV to their HIV-negative partners through sex. By the end of 2020, the global population of people living with HIV was approximately 39 million, including 1.5 million children aged 0 to 14 years old. Among these individuals, 86% were aware of their HIV status. To achieve the first 95-95-95 target by 2025, an additional 3.5 million people living with HIV need to be informed about their status. Furthermore, 89% of those who knew their status were receiving antiretroviral therapy in 2020. To reach the second 95-95-95 target, another 2.1 million people who are aware of their HIV status need to access this therapy. Among those receiving antiretroviral therapy, 93% had suppressed viral loads. To meet the third 95-95-95 target, optimal care must be provided to an additional 570,000 people receiving antiretroviral therapy to achieve viral load suppression. These statistics are part of the global effort to end the AIDS epidemic by 2030. The 95-95-95 target means that by 2025, 95% of people living with HIV should know their HIV status. 95% of people who know their status should be receiving treatment, and 95% of people on treatment should have suppressed viral loads. In the Philippines, there were roughly 14.97 thousand reported cases of HIV and AIDS in 2020. The Department of Health reported that there were 122,640 people living with HIV. 13,516 of them reported as newly diagnosed cases. The majority of the reported cases this year were diagnosed among the male population. In Eastern Visayas, cases of HIV and AIDS have reached 1,399 in the past 38 years. Of the 1,399 cases reported in 1984 to May 2022, 736 were in Leyte Province, 212 in Samar, 148 in Northern Samar, 129 in Southern Leyte, 107 in Eastern Samar, and 67 in Biliran. Majority, or 92.28% of the infected, are male, while only 7.72% are female. In Eastern Samar, since 1984, a total of 138 HIV cases have been recorded. The leading mode of transmission of HIV or AIDS remains to be male-to-male sex, multiple sex partners, and sex with the opposite gender.
The trend and current statistics of HIV highlight the progress made in reducing new HIV infections and increasing the people receiving treatment.
The World Health Organization, the Global Fund, and UNAIDS all have global HIV strategies that are aligned with the SDG target 3.3 of ending the HIV epidemic by 2030. By 2025, 95% of all PLHIV should have a diagnosis. 95% of those should be taking life-saving antiretroviral treatment, and 95% of PLHIV on treatment should achieve a suppressed viral load for the benefit of the person's health and for reducing onward HIV transmission.
Understanding PLHIV involves recognizing the challenges they face, the medical treatments available, and the ongoing effort to improve the quality of their lives and end the HIV epidemic. It also involves a walk through their daily struggles in this lifetime infirmity.
People living with HIV face a variety of challenges, which can be broadly categorized into physical, emotional, and psychosocial challenges. First, the physical challenges. ART is a critical component of HIV management, helping to suppress the virus and prevent the progression to AIDS. However, the daily intake of these medications can pose physical challenges for PLHIV. Some individuals report difficulty swallowing pills, which can lead to non-adherence to the treatment regimen. Non-adherence can result in viral rebound, increased risk of drug resistance, and progression of the disease. The COVID-19 pandemic has added another layer of complexity to this issue. The pandemic has strained healthcare systems globally, disrupting supply chains and making access to essential medicines, including ART, more difficult. Access to HIV facilities is crucial for people living with HIV, as these facilities provide the necessary medical care, including regular checkups, monitoring of the disease progression, and provision of ART. Now, these facilities also often provide psychosocial support, which is essential for managing the emotional and psychological challenges associated with living with HIV. Next, the emotional challenges. The daily routine of taking HIV medication can cause stress among PLHIV. This stress can be attributed to the constant reminder of their condition, the fear of potential side effects, and the need for strict adherence to the medication regimen. Bad memories associated with the daily intake of HIV medication are also reported by PLHIV. These memories can be related to the circumstances surrounding their diagnosis, the reactions of others when they disclose their status, or the physical discomfort experienced due to side effects of the medication. Lastly, we have the psychosocial challenges. One of the primary concerns for PLHIV is the fear that taking pills every day may inadvertently reveal their HIV status to others. This fear can lead to stress, anxiety, and even non-adherence to the antiretroviral therapy regimen. PLHIV also face a myriad of psychosocial problems. Sharing their diagnosis with others can be a daunting task, fraught by fear of rejection, discrimination, and stigma. Decision making regarding treatment can be overwhelming, particularly when considering the long term commitment to daily medication intake. Issues related to sexual activity and desires of parenthood can also pose significant challenges, often leading to feelings of anxiety, guilt, and fear.
To shed us some light, here is a short documentary that entails the realities faced by PLHIV themselves. We bring you stories that are often left untold, stories that need to be heard.
Ako at yung anak ko ay HIV positive.
Roak na HIV positive ako last year, September.
I tested positive for HIV back in 2017.
Hindi ko alam na carrier na pala ako ng sakit during my pregnancy. At nalaman ko lang yon nung minsan ay mataas yung lagnat ni Baby Mira at sinugod namin siya sa ospital ng mga magulang ko. Nung na-admit na yung baby ko sa ospital, sinabi sa akin ng mga doktor na mahina daw yung immune system ni baby. Kaya they suggested na mag-run ng mga test at isa na doon ay yung HIV testing. At doon na namin nalaman na positive na kaming dalawa.
I was a freshman student in one of the universities in Tacloban during that time. Growing up, I've been closeted. My parents are both Catholics and medyo sensitive kami when it comes to gender and sexuality. And as a first year student that time and having the sense of being free and away from my parents for that moment, I tried to explore my sexuality and I tried to do things na hindi ko normally nagagawa when I was back in summer.
Nakuha ko inhiyang nga sakit hanap ex-partner nga wala pag sumataak nga may dangayan niya sakit nga sugad. Nahiadman ko nga HIV positive hiya, haniya o sa nga sangkay.
Nakakagulat kasi hindi ko alam kung saan ko nakuha yung sakit. Iniisip ko na lang na baka sa ex-partner ko, which is yung nakabuntis sa akin, hindi ko na siya makausap ngayon at hindi ko na rin ako contact.
I did everything. I explored, I did dating apps, I do social media, I did have casual sex, nagawa kong makipag-meet kung kani-kanino. I really did took advantage of being away from my parents that time.
Bisan nahadlok akang kamatuoran nga natapnan ak niya, nagpatest la gihapak.
Nalaman ko na lang na HIV positive ako nung minsan magkatrangkas ako sa boarding house and nalaman ko yung mga impormasyon tungkol sa STI, sa HIV, sa AIDS. Noong mga panahon kasi yun, hindi ganun kalakas yung information drive, hindi katulad ngayon.
I'm Megan Faye Candido Villanueva, Nurse 3 in Provincial Health Office.
Ako si Wilmar Operario, ang Executive Director ng San Julian Pride.
I am currently handling HIV and STI program as well as surveillance program for the whole province of Eastern Samar.
Ang San Julian Pride ay isang community-based organization ng gay men and transgender women in San Julian. we advocate for health and human rights among the community. Most of our HIV 101 trainings, we partner with schools, with the universities, organizations, raising awareness about HIV/AIDS.
We educate people through social media ba, and then also we share basic and accurate information in the community and in social media about the transmission and prevention methods, and where to access mga testing services, free testing services.
Pinakamasakit sa akin kasi paano yung anak ko? Paano yung sasabihin ng ibang tao tungkol sa anak ko na meron siya nito?
Noong una, nung nalaman kong HIV positive ako, nanlungo talaga ako. Napuno ko ng pagsisisi, ng guilt, ng galit at ng takot at ng pangamba na sa mga bagay na pwede pang mangyari, and sobrang hiyang-hiya ako sa sarili ko. Sobrang kinahihiya ko yung sarili ko ng mga oras na yun. Kasama na rin yung pandidiri at saka yung takot sa magiging kinabukasan ko with HIV.
Naaaring itaknahin na susubo kay siyempre wara man niya igsumatak or wara niya paging open nga may dangayan niya sakit nga sugahit. Anak pala mga close friends an maaram hingak sitwasyon, pero anak mga relatives ng family diri pinira maaram dara kay naawod gud ako pag sumataira.
Iniisip ko ng mga panahon na yun kung paano pag nalaman ng mga magulang ko, paano pag nalaman ng mga kaibigan ko, lalayuan ba nila ako, itatakwil ba ako ng mga magulang ko, magiging mag-isa na lang ba ako, paano ko lalabanan yung sakit na hindi ko pa alam kung paano ako mabubuhay ng may sakit na may kondisyong ganun. Muntikan, halos isang semester akong hindi nakapasok, kakaisip, nagkukulong na lang ako sa boarding house, natatakot na lumabas, natatakot na makihalubilo sa ibang tao.
Naawd ka nanay ng kantatay, pati liwat ak mga kabugtuan nga naglulok up ha.
Based sa aming mga HIV 101 trainings, we have the ABCDE in the prevention of HIV. A is abstain from having sex. B is mutually faithful to your partner. C is correct and consistent use of condom. D is do not use drugs because sharing of needles is also one way of transmission. Of course, E is early detection. Kaya nga advocate kami, and we also work out for training of our CBA's motivators from the organization.
Nag-start kami 2018. At that time, konti pa lang yung nagpapatest, or let's just say na kung sino yung mga na-admit sa hospital at that time and sinususpect na merong or person living with HIV siya. Doon kami nag-start pa lang na mag-test. So, parang kulang pa yung advocacy namin for HIV program noon, and yung mga services na kayang ma-provide ng hospital.
Mas interesting yung mga tao kapag ginagamit yung arts sa pag-raise ng awareness, and we have productions ng aming teatro na ang tema ay tungkol sa HIV/AIDS.
Sa paglalabas sa social media, sa pag-share namin sa social media and other media platforms like local media, na nakaka-reach na kami sa maraming tao, maraming adolescent, at sa iba't ibang mga key population na nakakapagpa-test na sila to know their status. So dahil mas marami na kaming nare-reach ngayong mga tao na to, mas dumadami na yung mga nadedetect namin. Mas marami ang may gustong malaman kung ano ang status nila. And all na nadedetect namin, na advice namin na mag-start na sila ng treatment as soon as possible. Misconceptions about HIV includes beliefs na ang HIV can be transmitted through casual contacts. For example, pag hinawakan ka lang ng taong may HIV, or hinag ka ng taong may HIV, or pag hinalikan ka ng taong may HIV, is pwede ka nang mahawaan. Like, yung mga iba kong patient na sinasabi sila na pinandidirihan daw sila, hindi daw sila, to the point na hindi sila hinahawakan. And then, meron iba na iniisip nila na napaka-immoral ng mga tao merong HIV at delikado sila pakisalamuhan kasi nga hindi nila iniisip yung kaligtasan ng ibang tao at risk sila na makasama, ganon.
Yung mga tao kinakailangan na i-raise ang awareness nila paano sila makikitungo ng mga PLHIV. Kasi kung ang mga tao ay hindi mataas ang kailang awareness, magkakaproblema yun. So, paano sila makikipaghalubilo sa mga tao? Like, for example, in school, if the PLHIV is in school, or maybe sa work.
Hindi nila alam na ang ibang mga may HIV is nagkakaroon sila ng HIV dahil sexually abused sila, or nagkaroon sila ng HIV kasi yung partner nila, hindi naman nila alam na may HIV yung partner nila, or yung mismong partner nila hindi alam na may HIV sila at naipasa nila dun sa kanilang partner. And merong iba na may HIV dahil naipasa ng magulang sa baby.
And there was even a case in Leyte na there was even a barangay captain who tried to he was telling the PLHIV not to stay out from the barangay kasi parang the HIV AIDS work that we got sa mga stories that we got na pinaalis siya ng barangay chairman sa barangay nila. It's because PL nga siya. Hindi naman siya nakakahawa kasi ang hangin na ibinubuga mo hindi man naman makakahawa sa mga tao nasa paligid mo. So importante yung awareness kahit sa mga tao na yung mga barangay chairman mismo, kasi kung minsan natatakot sila kasi wala nga silang kaalaman doon. Yun, kinakailangan i-raise ang awareness.
Masakit sa akin bilang ina kasi nabigyan ko ng sakit yung inosente kong anak. Bakit ako? Bakit kami? Bakit yung anak ko? Bakit kami pa yung nag-positive sa HIV? Ako, kaya ko tanggapin lahat ng masasakit na salita. Pero pag sa anak ko parang masakit. Nakakaawa kasi inosente pa yung bata. Tapos, nahawaan ko lang siya ng sakit.
Halos 3 taon ko din tinago yung kondisyon ko. Nalaman ng mga magulang ko na may HIV ako nung nag-pandemic. At kinalangan ko mag-open up sa kanila about sa ART medication ko, and nung una talaga muntikan na akong masaktan ng tatay ko kasi I was supposed to bring honor in our family and I was supposed to be the bright child, pero nagkaroon ako ng sakit at kalakip ng sakit na yun ay yung stigma ng pandidiri at diskriminasyon. Ilang buwan din akong hindi pinansin ng mga magulang ko, and fortunately, unti-unti nila akong tinanggap, unti-unti nilang binuksan yung mga puso nila para sa akin, at unti-unti nilang binuksan yung kamay nila ulit para sa akin.
Kahit na marami akong natatanggap na masamang salita galing sa iba, kinakaya ko. Kasi andyan yung magulang ko, andyan yung mga totoong kaibigan ko, andyan sila para sa akin, at lalong-lalo na, kailangan ko maging matatag kasi para sa anak ko.
Libre ang kanilang lahat ng laboratory test or examination na pwedeng magawa namin sa kanila na kayang i-provide ng ESPH or meron sa ESPH. Mga ART medicines, kasi yung ART medicines namin is supplied from National DOH. So si DOH ang nagbibigay sa amin ng ART, tapos ibinibigay namin. And so far, hindi pa naman kami nagkakaroon ng stock out or out of stock ng mga medication. And so far, naibibigay ko pa rin naman yung mga medication na kailangan ng aming mga pasyente, ng aming mga clients, sorry.
We do advocacy and raising awareness dito sa ground, but we try to connect people once because we have CBS motivators. Kasi importante yung CBS motivators. Kasi yung iba na nasa komunidad, nahihiya silang pumunta sa mga service providers kasi especially if the service provider is not gender sensitive.
Meron din kami mga services like CDSWD. Nagbibigay siya ng financial assistance para sa mga patients na nangangailangan ng yung financial problems like that. Lalo na kung sila ay na-admit, kailangan nila ng pang-araw-araw na gastusin.
Yan na, nag-undergo akan ART nga nagpapasalamat akay libre line hiya para ang mga PLHIV.
I am also very thankful na yung ART is libre ko lang na na-access. And libre lang yung medication ko, libre lang yung treatment, and I am very grateful na unti-unti nababawasan na yung stigma, nababawasan na yung mga diskriminasyon, nababawasan na nagkakaroon na ng impormasyon, tamang impormasyon para sa HIV at tamang oportunidad at tamang pagkakakilanlan para sa mga PLHIV. Fortunately, as of now, I am undetectable. Ibig sabihin natutulog na yung virus na nasa katawan ko and malabo na or mababa na yung chance ako na makapanghawa ng virus sa ibang tao.
Hindi life sentence ang pagkakaroon ng pagiging PLHIV. Hindi katapusan ng buhay. Though sinasabi na wala pang treatment ng HIV. But you can still manage to have a meaningful, a long life, a productive life kung maaga ang detection ng iyong status.
Si HIV, hindi siya death sentence. Kinakailangan nilang malaman na oras na magkaroon sila ng HIV, hindi nila dapat iisipin na death sentence na ito para sa kanila. Meaning, wala nang pag-asa. As long as mag-start lang sila kaagad ng ART, may possibility na yung life expectancy nila mas humaba at yung magiging mas fulfilling, ay makakaya pa nila ma-fulfill kung ano yung mga gusto nilang gawin kahit na meron silang HIV. So, hindi sila nag-iisa. Much better kung wag nilang sarilihin yung kanilang nararamdaman or yung nalalaman nila about sa kanilang condition. Mas importante pa rin na dapat isali natin ang family, ang friends na mapagkakatiwalaan natin at ma-share natin sila ng kung ano yung mga nararamdaman natin, ano yung kinakatakutan natin. Kaysa yung gagawin nilang, yung sasarilihin lang nila yung kanilang nararamdaman at yung kanilang kondisyon.
Itak masusugad kung ninomit may mga partner or inggis. Dapat maging open ka sa usa kung may maniyo sugay nga sakit HIV kasi grabe epektuin na iya kung it usa matapnan ngan para diliwat ini mag-spread pa.
Anak, kung dumating naman yung panahon na mapapanood mo to, hindi ginusto ni Mami na makuha yung sakit at mahawaan ka. Ang magiging matatag para sa'yo si Mami, lagi mong tandaan na mahal ka ni Mami kahit ano mangyari.
Ang masasabi ko lang sa mga may HIV katulad ko is mas maging bukas tayo sa mga taong nakapaligid sa atin. Pagtibayin pa natin yung support system natin and huwag tayong mahihiyang mag-take ng medication dahil ang ART lang ang makakatulong sa atin as of now, and kapit lang tayo sa buhay, hindi death sentence ang pagkakaroon ng HIV. Always believe in God and I always pray and keep living despite our condition.
They can support us by partnering with us in what we do, raising awareness.
Pwedeng maging suporta ng ibang tao sa amin sa programa ng HIV is i-stop nila yung stigma, discrimination. Kasi pag hindi natigil yung stigma and discrimination, mas natatakot ang mga tao or ang mga taong alam nila ang status nila na may HIV sila. mas natatakot sila na lumabas, mas natatakot silang magpa-test, mas natatakot silang magpagamot, and hindi naiiwasan, mas lalong hindi naiiwasan na hindi lumala ang kanilang sakit, or hindi naiiwasan na hindi sila makahawa ng iba, kasi nga dahil nandiyan si stigma at saka si discrimination. If mai-stop natin yung stigma and discrimination and accept those people living with HIV, mag-i-start makipag-integrate yung mga taong may HIV sa community natin, and makakapag-start sila ng treatment, reducing viral load, reducing or preventing yung increased transmission of HIV sa ibang tao.
Gusto namin na i-raise ang awareness, magbigay ng pondo dapat ang mga LGU para sa HIV/AIDS, because it's a wrong notion na ang HIV ay problema lang ng mga cities. It's already here in the province.
So, ang vision namin is for the future to include universal access to HIV prevention, testing, treatment, and care services, as well as the elimination of stigma and discrimination against PLHIV. Ultimately, yung goal is magkaroon ng AIDS-free generation. Hindi natin maiiwasan na may mahawaan ng HIV, pero at least AIDS-free generation.
Bago tayo umabot sa worst case scenario, dapat magbigay ng pondo ang mga LGU for this work, because hindi yan malayo sa bituka natin sa Eastern Samar ang HIV/AIDS problem.
As the screen fades to black, we are left with a profound understanding of the journey our brave individuals undertake every day. In the face of the growing number of people living with HIV or PLHIV, actions and interventions have been implemented and are continuously being enforced. The World Health Organization, or the WHO, has a global HIV program that presents treatment and care with the main objective of reducing the mortality and morbidity caused by the virus and associated conditions, improving the quality of life, and preventing HIV transmission. Countries have embraced person-centered, differentiated care approaches to maximize the programmatic impact of HIV treatment and foster efficiency benefits. This has reduced the burden of HIV disease on health systems and improved patient quality of care. The World Health Organization's guidelines align with the minimum package of services for HIV prevention interventions defined by the U.S. government's President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR. These services include adherence counseling and support, risk reduction education, and condom provision, HIV serostatus disclosure counseling and partner HIV testing and counseling, family planning counseling and services, and assessment and treatment for other STIs. In response to the alarming increase of HIV rates in the Philippines, Congress enacted a law known as Republic Act No. 11166, or the Philippine HIV and AIDS Policy Act.
This law seeks to promote and upgrade the existing legal framework on how HIV is to be treated and eradicated, and how patients are to be protected from the stigma surrounding it.
Republic Act No. 11166 strengthens the Philippine Comprehensive Policy on Human Immunodeficiency Virus and Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome Prevention, Treatment, Care, and Support. It also reconstitutes the Philippine National AIDS Council, repealing for the purpose Republic Act No. 8504, otherwise known as the Philippine AIDS Prevention and Control Act of 1998. The law acknowledges that the health crisis is primarily an educational emergency at its very core. It seeks to promote safe sex literacy and preventive measures among all persons. A landmark provision in the law contains a penal clause for those who disclose the disease without getting the consent of the latter. The state shall respect, protect, and promote human rights as the cornerstones of an effective response to the country's HIV and AIDS situation. Hence, HIV and AIDS education and information dissemination should form part of the right to health. The law also ensures the delivery of non-discriminatory HIV and AIDS services by government and private HIV and AIDS service providers, and develops redress mechanisms for persons living with HIV to ensure that their civil, political, economic, and social rights are protected. Community-based HIV or AIDS interventions have been developed to promote the psychosocial well-being of PLHIV. These interventions may vary from individual level of intervention, group-level intervention, and community-based intervention. They include coping skills, treatment and care, community participation, and HIV education and risk reduction counseling. These intervention studies have shown positive impacts on participants' psychosocial well-being, improving self-efficacy, social support, and quality of life. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, also has a program that promotes the psychosocial well-being of PLHIV. Administrative Order No. 4, Series of 2013 states the guidelines and the implementation of the psychosocial care and support services for persons living with HIV and their affected families. The project aims to enhance access to psychosocial, economic, and support services for PLHIV and their affected families. Components under prevention include advocacy and information education campaigns that lead to policy formulation, capability building, wherein direct services to clientele are provided, and leaders, volunteers, as well as social workers are trained to manage cases of PLHIV. There is also management and treatment, which includes counseling to provide emotional and psychological support to PLHIV and their families, alternative family care for children who are neglected or orphaned and are infected with HIV, home-based care for PLHIV, establishment of referral mechanism, networking and resource generation, and provision of economic and psychosocial services.
Now, we will show you a video that walks you through the process of HIV testing. It's straightforward, confidential, and can be the first step towards ensuring your health.
Hi everyone, I'm Ryan from BS Social Work Program, and today we're gonna talk about a very important topic that affects millions of people worldwide, HIV testing. Remember, knowledge is power, and getting tested is the first step in taking control of your health. As we know, HIV or human immunodeficiency virus is a virus that affects our body's immune system. And if not treated, it could lead to AIDS or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome and other opportunistic illnesses and life-threatening diseases. Now, you might be thinking, why should I get tested for HIV? Well, people with HIV do not have any symptoms for several years and may not know that they have the virus. Getting tested is the only sure way to know your HIV status. If you tested positive, you can start the treatment to manage the virus and to start protecting your health. So who should get tested? Well, the CDC or Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends everyone from the age of 13 to 64 to at least get an HIV test as the part of their healthcare routine. But some people are at higher risk and should get tested more often. You should get tested at least once a year if you're a man who has had sex with another man, you have anal or vaginal sex with someone who has HIV, you've had more than one sex partner since your last HIV test, you've shared needles, syringe, or other drug injection equipment, for example, hookers, you've exchanged sex for drugs or money, you've been diagnosed with or treated for another sexually transmitted disease, you've been diagnosed with or treated for hepatitis or tuberculosis, and you've had sex with someone who has done anything listed above or with someone whose sexual history you don't know. And right now, we are here at Eastern Samar State University main campus. And here with us today is one of the trained CBS motivators under San Julian Pride Organization, a community-based organization that advocates for HIV/AIDS awareness and other things such as mental health awareness, inclusive DRRM, and lobby for policy advocacy in San Julian and for the whole province of Eastern Samar. What is your name po?
My name is Argel Detalo.
So Argel Detalo, I'm gonna ask you ang pinaka-big question muna natin for today because the viewers might be asking, what is CBS Motivator?
CBS stands for Community-Based Screening, and Motivator stands for they are the ones who, or they are the catalysts who do the counseling and some testings of HIV.
So, since alam natin kung ano yung CBS Motivators, how does HIV testing done by CBS Motivators?
Before we go to the testing process, the first thing we need to do is to ask for the consent of the client, may it be verbal or handwritten. And after that, we need to ask some personal informations and some sensitive informations that are needed. Now, we move on to the testing process. There are certain steps that we need to follow.
Together, we can make a difference. Goodbye and take care.